The Chicago Bears had their joint practice today with the Super Bowl contender Buffalo Bills, and they fared pretty much how you would expect them to fare. It wasn't pretty. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And the Chicago Bears reportedly got absolutely handled in the red zone drills on both sides of the ball by the Buffalo Bills. One of the most concerning things in all of this to come out is a tweet from the Bears report that said this. On the last 2-minute drill, Joey Bosa gave Caleb Williams a little shove after a play that was called a sack. No Bears offensive lineman did anything. So nobody did anything to your quarterback getting shoved? Like, nobody noticed it? Like, that's one of those things that I'm not going to lie to you, right? And I don't want to for all we know, people didn't see it, whatever it is. But for all it is like, that's just something I did not expect from this Bears team and the way and the culture that Ben Johnson and this team have been developing here. I'm not going to lie to you. I just didn't expect to hear that a quarterback got shoved and nothing came of it. I just didn't expect that to happen. But, it goes on to say, but the clock was running and it was a scramble to get to the line as the time was expiring for a final play. So take what you will from that. But that's something that definitely stands out to me as a little concerning in regards to, like, nobody's defending your quarterback. We've seen that before, and it's never really good when it came down to it. Now, we did hear that there was a really good start to the 7-on-7 for Caleb Williams. He only had one incompletion, and that was a defensive holding penalty, so he continued to target Rome Odunze a lot. You love to hear that. He then backed it up with a strong team period as well. That was a big play to Colston Loveland. And so far, it was trending pretty positively over that time. And then a promising 2-minute drill completely fizzles out for the Bears as a false start at the 11-yard line, and Caleb Williams had 3 straight completions to get the Bears down to that 11-yard line, but the last 3 throws all fell incomplete, and Christian Bradford with the Bills broke up 2 of those passes, including a 4th down play on that one. So take for what you will on that one. Wasn't all bad. I know it's going to be reported as a lot of bad that came down there. But overall, Zach Pearson said this: pretty balanced practice so far from both sides, leading to a red zone in 2 minutes. But the Bills won the red zone on offense and defense, where the Bears were able to find the end zone on one series there. But the 2-minute period belonged to Buffalo in that time period. And that the Buffalo Bills, according to Rob Schwartz, dominated the red zone drills on both sides. And that Braxton Jones continues to struggle at the left tackle position. One thing coming from our boy Pat, the designer, said this: the Bears don't have a single tackle on the left side worth talking about. Take that for what you will. I mean, Pat, the designer, is my boy. That's my brother. We do Locked On Bulls together 5 days a week. And I know Pat does not tweet things just for sensationalism, right? Pat is one of the people that I do trust, that I know if he says something about practice that he saw, you can trust that that's legitimately his feeling coming out of it. And so hearing that, there's been some concerns when it comes down to it. So the offense failed to score in the a touchdown in the 2-minute drill is something that you definitely hear with that. The Bills had a quick sack on 3rd down in red zone, and with the clock running out as well, that Caleb Williams tried to put something together to run a play. He did run a toss towards Rome Odunze, but that fell incomplete. So you're seeing that the Bears were able to move in the 2-minute drill, right? Which is, you can take that from positively if you want, but they haven't been able to yet complete the 2-minute drill, not against the Buffalo Bills. Now, the thing about this, the Bills are a legit Super Bowl contending team. I think people realize that they're a legit Super Bowl contender, completely way far ahead of their development than the Chicago Bears are. So to hear that the Bears were able to move the ball in the 2-minute drill, they just weren't able to bring it home and be able to score that touchdown in that 2-minute drill raises some big concerns there. But take from that what you will when it comes down to it. The fact that Caleb Williams did, and we saw a little bit of that last season as well, right? We saw Caleb Williams in the fourth quarter, have some pretty damn good drives in the fourth quarter that either stalled or mistakes were made, interceptions. They weren't able to score when it came down to it. So the fact of the matter is that during the 11-on-11 period, a 1-minute drill down by 6, the Bears were able to make up, to be able to go down the field, but a false start, 2 incompletions, and a sack doomed that series. And so, that's kind of case in point what we've seen. And that's not too outside the norm that we see from teams who have yet to learn how to win yet, right? The Bears may learn Ben Johnson's offense, but then learning how to win and making the right plays, the right winning plays at the right time is very oftenly a very different story. And I think that's what we're seeing here with the Bears right now, is that they are just, the execution things are really holding the Chicago Bears back. But it's a good thing. Luther Burden continued to impress today. He created separation all throughout the day today. He had another big catch over the middle, put moves on the defender, and he was practicing with the twos when he got that done. So Luther Burden, who's been practicing pretty consistently with the twos. Somebody asked today on the mailbag episode, will Luther Burden start at the slot, or is Olamide Zaccheaus going to start at the slot? Via what we're seeing through the balance and also through the chemistry with Caleb Williams, it points towards Olamide Zaccheaus probably getting the start there at the slot receiver, maybe to start early on. We shall see how it shakes down with that one. But Luther Burden, for what it's worth, is still making plays, still creating that separation and getting to the middle of the field, which is an area that we need to attack pretty consistently coming into the season. And they're going to want to attack with Ben Johnson being the play caller. So hearing Luther Burden having this thing is really good there. Now, one of the other things that stood out as far as morale-wise is Taron Johnson, the cornerback from the Buffalo Bills, broke up a pass in the end zone and then taunted the crowd, which there were boos that were done because of that. Yeah, there's some Buffalo fans also in Hollis Hall. Bills Mafia is definitely traveling with that one. But, protect your home field. I get it. It's a joint practice. Take from that what you will. But for what it's worth, it got a little chippy out there. Tyreek Stevenson had to sit out the rest of the 2-minute drill as well after getting into a shoving match with a Bills wide receiver. He was asked to sit down, pulled from the rest of practice, which to me, if he's showing a little bit of the edge, keep him in. Now, depending on how bad it got, that you may have needed to pull him just to make sure the practice didn't get out of hand. But for what it's worth, Tyreek Stevenson really has been playing with some edge from what we've heard. And I'm excited to see how much of that travels over into the regular season for Tyreek Stevenson as far as playing with that edge, because like I've said this before, all the great quarterbacks, I'm not saying Tyreek Stevenson is a great quarterback, but I'm just saying one of the things that great cornerbacks and great wide receivers all kind of have is the cockiness. You need a little bit of that edge if you really want to be great at those respective positions. And so if Tyreek's showing that a little bit, I'm not too mad at it. Austin Booker, another positive standout for the Chicago Bears in this joint practice as well. From Clay Harbor, Austin Booker is having an excellent practice today, going up against that joint practice with the Buffalo Bills. Again, legit Super Bowl contender, and Austin Booker is going to have a very important role. Regardless of him not starting, he's going to play a lot of snaps and a lot of downs here for the Chicago Bears. And while Dayo Odeyingbo definitely has it's probably going to get the nod to be the starter there, this does not mean that Austin Booker can't overtake that. Of course, they're probably expecting Dayo to be able to keep that, especially with his with the contract that they gave him in that second year. But Austin Booker has a huge opportunity here to really earn a bunch of snaps, and that's what we're going to happen as well. There was also a pretty big miss in the red zone to Colston Loveland by Caleb Williams, with Matt Milano being in coverage on that play. It reportedly would have been a touchdown, but there was just a misconnection on that. That's going to happen sometimes. That happens even with the greats. But, connectivity is something that we're really looking for. The chemistry is something that we're looking for. You got to be able to execute when you're there in a scoring opportunity. And Caleb's going to have to tighten that part of his game up, absolutely. But for what it's worth, Rome Odunze had some fabulous catches today. He was even pushed out of bounds at times. But again, the route trees, the versatility in the routes that he ran were very evident today as well. Him and Christian Bradford reportedly were going at it in practice, not as far as shoving matches, as far as just the battle of wide receiver, cornerback. I think that's a really good test for when it comes to Rome Odunze against a player like Christian Bradford when it came down to it. The Bears' second-team defense as well had its moments today. They reportedly forced a fumble as well. Alice Cook picked it up and returned it as well. So the second-team defense starting to find its success, as did the second-team offense against the Bills' second-team defense as well. The second-team offense had their success in the red zone 11-on-11 period. Ian Willer had a nice run for a touchdown. His balance was something that impressed Greg Braggs in that time period. Tyson Bagent had a good rollout to Stephen Carlson for a touchdown as well, the tight end there. And there was a nice throw thrown towards Devin Duvernay, who we really haven't heard a lot about over the last week of Devin Duvernay. Before that, we were hearing a lot about him. Olamide Zaccheaus continues to stand out as well. From 79th and Hallis podcast, they say really like how Caleb bounced back from the first red zone period. Another nice throw and catch from Caleb to Oz, 2 in a row there. And that's why I think that Olamide Zaccheaus is probably inching towards coming out with that starting slot receiver just because of the chemistry with Caleb Williams, the fact that he is a veteran, and no knock on Luther Burden. I think Luther could very well show enough to get that when it comes down to it, but we'll see. Josh Allen, for what it's worth, him and Keon Coleman connected for a touchdown. They beat Nashawn Wright on that. Trial by fire there. Josh Allen, we know who he is as a quarterback. He's going to be difficult to maintain when it comes to that one. But overall, pretty solid day for the second string offense, second string defense having its benefit today. We're going to see a lot of those guys in the preseason game against the Bills coming up. So overall, like, it was some positives, it was some negative. And the Bears, back-to-back touchdowns from Caleb Williams to Rome Odunze in the first team red zone 11-on-11 period. So back-to-back touchdowns in that, as much as we've heard of some misconnections and things like that. The fact that Caleb Williams was able to throw back-to-back touchdowns to Rome today, really good when we hear that. Even Mitch Trubinsky was in the building. He had to check in against the Bears' second team defense. Reportedly, he had some nice throws in that too. So take for that what you will. Fuck Mitch. Not because of Mitch. It is what it is. But so it's not all doom and gloom. Like while the Bills' defense did dominate the red zone periods, in 11-on-11s, the Bears had some success. So whatever you take away from that, again, against a legit Super Bowl contender, the number one offense was able to find success on 11-on-11s in the red zone for 2 touchdowns. So while there is some concern for the penalties and the sacks and stuff like that, there's definitely some benefit as well that you're seeing. Like, reportedly, Zach Pearson said this, that there's no stopping the Caleb and Rome connection, saying this. Caleb Williams hit Rome for a touchdown in red zone. Odunze broke open. Then he hit Rome again, and he reached over the goal line for a touchdown catch there. So, again, you're going to take the good with the bad. Of course, a lot of the outlets are going to run with the bad more than the positively, but the Bears did find the red zone. The starting offense did find the red zone multiple times against the starting defense, so there is still some positivity to take away in that, even though, the Bills on both sides of the ball kind of dominated in different times today. Tremaine Edmunds as well picked off Josh Allen today 2 times. So there you go on that one. You love to hear that from Tremaine Edmunds getting that opportunity. We talked about Tremaine Edmunds and the chances that he has here in coverage under Dennis Allen's system to really show what he hasn't seen and hasn't shown a lot before. So that's really good. Get Cole Kmet back out there on the field. He ran with the twos today. Ian Willer was out there as well. He had some good opportunities. So there's some positive and some negative. And when you look at the competition specifically that the Chicago Bears are against in this joint practice, a lot of sign for positivity. The snaps were still a little too high, still some timing and some pre-snap things that need to get together. And I'm sure that is driving Ben Johnson absolutely crazy. A false start from Jonah Jackson, that's the veteran, right? So that's not even necessarily you're looking at the young players do that. That's your veteran in Jonah Jackson that had some of that. And, it is what it is. Cole Kmet went down. He was limping at one point. He got back into it. Braxton Jones got absolutely cooked and demolished in the red zone. So, it comes down to it. A lot of the same things that we've been seeing, but reportedly Josh Allen and Caleb Williams have been sitting down. They talked some today. And you like for Caleb Williams to be learning from anyone. Like Caleb Williams, I know a lot of people have made of Caleb Williams walking off, post with CJ Stroud trying to talk to him. But Caleb is a student of the game, and I think he's going to have a chance to really absorb this. But what it comes down to, one of the standing things to come out of all of this right now is that, hey, it was a roller coaster ride for the Bears. The left tackle were not looking good today against Super Bowl level competition. And we've heard a lot of positivity from these left tackles. Now, inexperience is there. Theo Benedict, inexperienced. Aji Trapillo, inexperienced. Braxton Jones is experienced, but we kind of know there's a reason there's a left tackle battle, even though you have a veteran like Braxton Jones out there, which I think says a lot about his positioning already. So while the left tackle left some things to be desired, I'm not going to worry about it too much until we see it in a live game. But for what it's worth, the Bears had a battle. The Bears had some shining moments today. They had some pretty glaring concerns as well today. But I think when you factor in the fact that this is a Super Bowl contending team that they were up there against, you kind of expect some of those hurdles to be over there. So we'll see. Some success from the Bears, some bad things from the Bears today. And overall, the Bears are going to have to figure this out. But this is good for their growth. coming up against a team like this in joint practice and then turn around and play against them on Sunday as well, that's good for the growth of the team. That's good for the team to really see where they are and how they measure up against a true, legitimate contender in this league, and to understand the standard that has to be set if you want to be a contender in this league. And the Bears need to see that. These players need to see that. They need to see what those contending teams, how they practice, what they do, how they execute, how they bring it. And that's how you can iron sharpens iron. So we'll see what that happens. You guys can let me know how you feel on all of that down below. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.